Hello, Internet! If you're watching on YouTube, hello, Internet, if you're watching here on Twitch, and from the raid as well. Thank you very much for joining us. This is round 9 of the Players' Cup 4, playing against someone called Jack, who I later find out is a UK guy, actually only 3 years younger than me, is 30 as well, so is coming into competitive Pokemon late, but he's also 5'3". In this very competitive tournament, and he's got a very, very threatening looking team. Now I want to go 6'3". I'm at 5'3" right now. I want to go 6'3". But this is a very nasty looking team. Because it's open team sheets, I can see on the team sheet the Whimsicott has got Switcheroo and the eject button, which really worries me. Because normally against a team like this, maybe I'd go something like a Moongus and Zapdos. I can't Rage Powder away a Switcheroo. What am I doing here? I'm actually really, really worried here. Dragapult Colossal. No. I've hardly used Dragapult and Colossal, to be honest. And actually, yeah, this is only the third time in the tournament that I'm going to be leading with Dragapult and Colossal. But no, Zapdos and Azumarill have done way more work throughout the course of the tournament. If you haven't been here watching these Swiss rounds, it will all be going on YouTube over next week. I'll take it from the VOD from this, but yeah, his team is pretty cool, isn't it? And it's really threatening, actually. So I'm hoping to get him with my own cheese. Game 1. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm obviously biased, but I think the sets in this tournament have been fantastic. I think I've had some brilliant games here. Now, I know he's got Switcheroo, and he's obviously going to want to Switcheroo my Colossal, isn't he? Switcheroo Colossal, Electro Web, whatever. That gets rid of my weakness policy. It gets rid of, just bounces my Colossal out, doesn't it? And Dragapult isn't really a threat here. So I came into this game 1 with the intention of doing this. This was my plan, to Dynamax the Dragapult, because he's not going to expect that, is he? And I'm just going to stay in with the Colossal. If I get bounced out with an eject button, so what? If I don't, I get a Heat Wave off. He was not gonna, surely he's not gonna expect my Dragapult to Dynamax it. And I'm quite happy here, Dynamaxing Dragapult. I'm Assault Vested, so although he has got, it was Choice Specs Lele in the back, he doesn't have Moonblast on it, and I am Assault Vested, so Dazzling Gleam isn't gonna do a whole lot of damage if he does get the Tailwind up. But if he doesn't switch through here, I'm going to be bouncing his own Whimsicott out, or, and he's not going to have the option in the future as well. He does do that with the onto the Colossal, just as I expected. That's fine by me, because now I don't have to worry about eject buttons anymore, and he can't Tailwind anymore either, because I'm going to knock him out with this Heat Wave, because he didn't go for an Electro Web. Yeah, Zapdos, exactly. Yeah, Galarian Zapdos does pressure Landorus, which does mess up Colossal. So that is kind of why I wanted to go with this. Go with that pairing. But yeah, I was very, very happy with that turn 1, because not only do we get rid of his eject button on, it's going to be going on potentially my Dynamax Pokemon. I've still got it on my Colossal, but he doesn't attack with the Regieleki. I get a speed boost with my Dragapult as well, so my Dragapult is now faster than the Regieleki as well. So the Regieleki isn't really going to be able to do anything here, but he does have the Moltres, and that might have looked really nice for a turn 1, but how am I going to deal with this Moltres now? Because it is weakness policy. I have got Azumarill in the back, but, a Play Rough is going to do a lot of damage to the Moltres, but it's not going to knock it out. Activate its weakness policy, it'll knock me out. So I'm actually thinking, at this point, have I still lost the game? I mean, how do I beat the Moltres now? I think I'm just going to Heat Wave here. Yeah. What I am doing, yeah, he doesn't switch anything. I do expect him to Dynamax the Moltres. What I am doing here is I'm going to knock out the Regieleki because it gets rid of the Regieleki. I get to see what he's got in the back, and I can sort of make a plan as to how I beat his last two Pokemon. But also it puts his Moltres at -1 defense. So when my Azumarill does come in, Play Rough will do more damage to it. So here we go. +1 speed, max Phantasm, knocks out the Regieleki. He has got Reflect up though. So this defense drop has sort of nullified the Reflect. He does go for Max Darkness. It is into the Dragapult, which does over half. So my Assault Vest, unfortunately, not allowing us to survive 2 of those. And I just get this Heat Wave off just because I want some damage. There was always a chance of him just going for a Fiery Wrath there. I have still got the eject button on my Colossal Avantai, so you know, if he just went for a Fiery Wrath, there's no point in me going for anything really, is there? For a Meteor Beam, because it could just bounce me out the next turn. So I know it's Tapu Lele in the back. I haven't got Azumarill. I haven't got Azumarill. I'm remembering now. I've got Zapdos. Still why I wanted to get defense drops on it. But he hasn't got Tailwind up. Good for me. He did an Airstream. Yes, Dragapult is still the fastest thing on the field. I know that is choice specs. I know that even with Reflect up, this Max Phantasm is going to knock it out. Dragapult doing some business in this game. Dragapult is probably the most passive Pokemon on this team, aside from maybe Raichu. It did the least in this tournament, but in this game, Dynamax Dragapult is doing the business. And because he does target the Dragapult here, yes, I think I have a plan now. Because he does target the Dragapult there, he's not targeting my Colossal. I get to keep my Colossal. If he did target the Colossal there, that maybe would have been worse. We would have kept the Dragapult. We would have been able to kept on going for Dragon Darts in the future, which would have chipped away at it. But I'm formulating a plan now. Zapdos isn't going to do much. I know that, especially because he's got Hurricane instead of Air Slash, so I know after his Dynamax is finished, I might have a chance of dodging a Hurricane to do something with my Zapdos. But I know he's going to get Airstream boosts, so he will be faster than my Zapdos. And I can't really rely on my Zapdos to do anything here. He is at -2 defense there. I'm just looking, and this is his last turn of Dynamax. Maybe it was safer for me to go for a Rage Powder here. Because I think at this point I forgot I've still got the eject button on my Colossal. If he attacked into my oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm good here. I'm fine, aren't I? If he attacks into my Colossal, I don't get any Meteor Beam or whatever, but I do get him to sleep. Yeah, there was no reason to Rage Powder there because I'm putting him to sleep, aren't I? But I timed this Meteor Beam quite well. This is his last turn of Dynamax. I get a +1 special attack now, and I get him to sleep through my Cobra Berry. And next turn, not only does he not have any chance of waking up, but he's no longer Dynamax, and Meteor Beam should just knock him out. As long as we hit it. If we missed it, we might have been in a bit of a sticky situation. But we hit. Good old Meteor Beam. And the funny thing is, before this tournament, I was very, very, very close to swapping Meteor Beam back to Ancient Power on this Colossal, just because a lot of the times using this team, I go with Zapdos in the lead and Colossal in the back, and I Dynamax the Zapdos. So I'm not Dynamaxing, I'm not Gigantamaxing the Colossal. So Meteor Beam isn't quite so useful, but we did have a few games back, a few sets back, we had Colossal beating that Porygon 2 one-on-one because I could keep boosting up with Meteor Beam, and I could out damage him, that he could recover, out damage his recovers. And in this game there, that worked out quite nicely because if I had Ancient Power, I would have activated a Weakness Policy. We wouldn't have knocked it out. But with the Amoonguss support, if I'd gone for the Rage Powder, it would have been actually, Rage Powder would not have been good there because that was his last turn of Dynamax. He could have Fiery Wrathed on the next turn, ejected me out. That would have been a very spectacular way of throwing the game, wouldn't it? So I'm very glad I went for the Spore there, thinking about it. But still, you know, I'm happy I've won the game 1, obviously, but I'm still very, very, very threatened by his team. And I'm thinking, okay, I've kind of cheesed him there by Dynamaxing a Dragapult instead of the Colossal, but he's not, you know, he's going to be more wary about that now. Moltres was an issue for me as well, but if I lead with Dragapult and Colossal, then he can, well, it's all mind games there, isn't it? You know, again, you can Switcheroo and do all that lot. But if he leads with Tapu Lele, then I was actually worried about him leading with Lele, I think, and Tailwinding. Well, the Dragapult would still survive I'd still get the Surf off there, wouldn't I? And he wouldn't be able to Switcheroo there. Yeah, maybe the opposite of what I just said. Maybe I wasn't worried about him leading with those because then he couldn't Switcheroo me. But it looks like I'm leading with Amoonguss and Colossal. That's the first time I've ever led with those. With Dragapult and Zapdos in the back. Okay then. There's a lot of... Because his is a very offensive team. I know that he's going to have a lot more play if he gets the Tailwind off. And I was fortunate, lucky enough that he didn't Tailwind in the first game. But he leads with the Moltres now. Which is not great. Because I've got my Amoonguss and my Colossal here. So I can't Rage Powder away a Switcheroo on the Colossal. And if he really wants to, he can Switcheroo away my Cobra Berry from Amoonguss. So what are we doing here? I think what I don't want to do is Gigantamax. Because Switcheroo is always going to be a problem for us. As long as the eject button's gone, and he does do it into the Amoonguss there. And he goes for the Fiery Wrath, so no Spore for me, he's bouncing me out. Colossal is going for the Heat Wave here, so, you know, I'm looking forward to getting some nice damage on the Whimsicott, and some decent damage on the Moltres that we need so badly as well. But I'm really in a sticky spot right now, aren't I? Because if I bring in Zapdos, I know next turn he can just Tailwind and Airstream into it, and I'm gone. And if I bring Dragapult in, I know, again, he can just Tailwind and Max Darkness into me. And if I don't Dynamax a Dragapult, I'm gone. Because we saw in the first game, my Dynamax Dragapult took about 60% from his Max Darkness. Maybe that's something that, if I was going to stick with Dragapult, I could actually EV for, maybe. It'd take a lot out of attack, though. It'd make it pretty passive, wouldn't it? Maybe not. So from that turn 1, I'm feeling really bad now. I don't know if there's any way that we can win this. If he really wants to, he can, you know, take my weakness policy away from Colossal as well with the Switcheroo. Give my Colossal the Cobra Berry. But I am choosing to Dynamax because I need damage on the Moltres. The Moltres is the threat. I mean, it's a very simple move for him to go for here, isn't it? He knows that he can deny my Colossal Steam Engine setup by just going for the Max Darkness into Dragapult because I can't take that. But at the same time, he can't knock out my Colossal this turn, and he can't bounce me out because he's already used his eject button. He does Switcheroo the Colossal there. Oh, and because he Switcheroos, okay, that was a mistake. He knows that Moltres knocks out Dragapult in one hit if I don't Dynamax it. But he chose to not... Oh, and I think I missed it there, didn't we? I think we flinched turn 1. I think Colossal flinched as well. That would have been a nice heat wave into his Pokemon. I was too busy thinking. But yeah, he does just go for the Max Darkness into the Dragapult, which, there you go, does knock us out. I don't know why he didn't go for the Tailwind there. But I think would have been the safer move, because, like, unless his Moltres is not faster than Dragapult in Tailwind, there was no worry for him just there. But we've activated his weakness policy on the Moltres. We have got our Volcalith going. We have still got both Amoonguss and Zapdos in the back. But is there any way that we can pull this out? Let's see. Maybe I can. I don't know. What do you think? What would you do? I have got a Rage Powder. I can Volcalith again into the Moltres. The first one did a good chunk of damage. Oh yes, that's the one. Yes, this was the Whimsicott with Light Screen. I remember now. And so because of that Light Screen, this Volcalith is not going to be able to knock out the Moltres. But it's funny that he prioritized taking away my weakness policy instead of just shutting down any possibility of getting the steam engine going. Because I did get that steam engine going. You know, there was some play for me still in this game. I lose the Amoonguss because I've lost my Cobra Berry, and we are getting some decent damage with the Volcalith now, but that Light Screen on the... not a movie you often see, is it? Light Screen on Whimsicott does actually allow the Moltres to survive this turn. And we did flinch from the Fiery Wrath turn 1. If we'd got that Heat Wave off turn 1, both these would be gone now. So, a bit unlucky there. Is there any way that I can pull this out? I think the only way is to call which one is going to attack with the Moltres. Make a 50-50 call. And even then, you can Tailwind and he'll have a threat in the back. I don't think it matters at this point, does it? All he has to do is Tailwind, and even if it's a Lele in the back or whatever, assuming it's brought that like he did turn 1, he can just sweep through me now. Yeah, so there's the Tailwind. I don't protect anything. Yeah, I remember this. And he does just Airstream into the Zapdos. I remember thinking to myself, okay, maybe I should have detected the Zapdos there. And why do I flare into the Moltres there? Because the Volcalith is going to take it out as well. I flared because I wanted to get the sun up so that my +6 speed Heat Waves could threaten whatever he's got in the back a bit more. I don't know why I did that into the Moltres. Because Volcalith would have taken it out. Okay, let's play hindsight. If I knew what he was going to do there, which wasn't that unpredictable, really, was it? I should have protected the Zapdos, max flared the Whimsicott. Both of his Pokemon get knocked out there. I still have my Zapdos, I still have my Colossal. But then he's got his Urshifu, and maybe he's got his Tapu Lele in the back. I think he still wins there, doesn't he? Because he's got the Tailwind up. Colossal will be faster than both. But Choice Banded, Aqua Jet, I mean, okay. I guess that prevents a Heat Wave burn or something, but yeah. But we lose that game. Now, that was an Urshifu Water there, Choice Banded. Urshifu Water, Rapid Strike, actually learns Fire Punch, which I didn't know. I saw it on the on his team sheet before we started the set, and I did look it up. You know, does Urshifu Water get Fire Punch? If it doesn't, we can get the win. but it does actually, yeah. So there we go. So here we go. Round 9 in the Players' Cup for we're both at 5-3, and we're 1-1 in this game. And I'm worried because I think he's got plentiful tools to beat my team. The Tailwind is a big threat. The Switcheroo is a big threat. And what am I doing here? What am I doing here? There was, I mean, many months ago, last year even, I did use a team with Surf on Raichu, if any of you remember. Surf on Raichu, I did kind of think it would be nice to have a few points in this tournament. But I'm leading Raichu and Colossal with Amoonguss in the back, but I'm not bringing my Zapdos here. Now, I remember now, in the first game of this set, I brought the Zapdos, and I thought to myself, last minute after I'd locked it in, I should have brought the Azumarill there. In the second game, I still brought the Zapdos, and I didn't bring the Azumarill. But I did bring the Azumarill this game. Yeah, I think Rapid Strike's more common. And what a bad lead. Like, he can get Tailwind. He's got Banded Urshifu. Ah, man, and this is not looking good. I can't protect because the Unseen Fist. Raichu, I mean, I was expecting him to go for Tailwind and Rapid Strikes into my Raichu, because the Rapid Strikes into my Colossal is so predictable, and my Colossal isn't really threaty without any boosts. So the Raichu, in a way, is the bigger threat here for him. So I think he was just going to go for the Tailwind, Rapid Strike into the Raichu. And what can I do about that? Play defensively, Barry. For one moment in your life, play defensively. I was thinking back to, you know, the Torkoal Charizard lead in round 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever it was. Swapping the Colossal, Barry. Don't be an idiot. I wasn't an idiot this game. I made a defensive swap, and he brings in the Tapu Lele, expecting a fake out in his Whimsicott, to his Whimsicott. Interesting. So I'm not going to be taking damage from Urshifu this turn. 3 swaps. I didn't expect him to swap the Urshifu there. And he's gone for a Light Screen. Now that is interesting, because he is in the Psychic terrain now. He cannot Switcheroo either of my Pokemon. But he does threaten the Amoonguss with a Psychic. I think he's going to go for a Tailwind here, because, you know, he can't Light Screen again. Dazzling Gleam isn't going to do too much for him. He can't Switcheroo. So what I do here, fully aware that this has got bad implications, I am going to do this. I protect the Amoonguss because I think it's very, very important in this game still. Even though I can't Rage Powder away anything that this Whimsicott can do, I'm Dynamaxing my Azumarill. For the first time in the tournament, in the very last game, I Dynamax my 400 HP Azumarill, protect the Amoonguss because he has to Psychic it, else something's going to sleep. He does Tailwind there, and he does Psychic into the Amoonguss. If he Psychicked into the Azumarill there, it would have done some damage. It wouldn't have been the worst case scenario, but I get this Max Starfall into the Tapu Lele. This is a huge power max attack Azumarill, ladies and gentlemen. We are one-shotting this Tapu Lele. Now, the downsides that I was just referring to were that now I have gone for that the Max Starfall. The Psychic terrain is no longer on the field. He can now Switcheroo either of my Pokemon again. We know it's Urshifu in the back, and we know how much of a threat Moltres was in the previous game, so it wouldn't surprise me if it is Moltres. If both of his Pokemon in the back are weak to this Azumarill. I didn't bring Azumarill Game 1, I didn't bring Azumarill Game 2, and it's doing some business for me in Game 3 now. Now, I expected, he protects the Moltres, which is interesting. I thought he was going to Switcheroo and Fiery Wrath into my Azumarill, because that would bounce me out. Makes sense, doesn't it? He actually Switcheroos, maybe he called that. But if he did call that, no, he didn't call that, else he'd just Fire Wrathy, wouldn't he? But I max guard my Azumarill because I want to make sure I get my last turn of my Dynamax here. And as long as he doesn't bounce out my my Azumarill, I guarantee that I either knock out the either knock out the Whimsicott there, or knock out the Whimsicott, or he doesn't get his Switcheroo off. But yeah, that was actually very dangerous if he did just go for a Fiery Wrath there. But I thought it was this Azumarill is a massive threat for him. It did surprise me that he didn't go for the Switcheroo into the Azumarill, but I've got one more turn of Dynamax. He's still got his Dynamax left. What would you do in this scenario? Because it looks like I'm in a fantastic position, but am I? The Urshifu's banded, so I know one hit and it's gone. I've lost my Cobra Berry. He doesn't Dynamax anything, and he close combats into the Azumarill. I should have, in hindsight here, I should have gone for the Max Starfall into the Moltres, shouldn't I? Because Urshifu, especially locked into close combat now, isn't going to beat Amoonguss. Urshifu isn't going to beat my Raichu because I knock it out with a Thunderbolt. But I thought he was going to Dynamax his Moltres there, and I was really worried about. Ah, man, yeah, I'm thinking over this now. Maybe that wasn't the best move from me. I thought he was going to Dynamax the Moltres there, and I didn't want to activate it. I'm taking my time because I don't know what to do here. I think I've potentially lost the game. I didn't want to activate a weakness policy on the Dynamax Moltres because a Max Starfall isn't going to one-shot a Dynamax Moltres. But yeah, that was the worry. If I did go for the Starfall into the Dynamaxing Moltres there, let's say he did Dynamax the Moltres, in this game, in this reality, I'm knocking out the Urshifu there. But if he did Dynamax the Moltres, we activate the weakness policy. Let's say he close combats into my into my Amoonguss instead, which he should have done if he was making a different play there to eject me out. I couldn't have put the Moltres to sleep there. So now, he's still got his 3 turns of Dynamax. He's still got his weakness policy. I don't want to activate a weakness policy with a Thunderbolt or with an Electro Web. And I think my Azumarill can take a max hit here. Now the thing is, I've got my Colossal in the back. I've not got my Amoonguss anymore. I can't redirect attacks and get a Meteor Beam off anymore. If I chipped away at it, I can't do that with Meteor Beam now. So, what can I do here? If I Thunderbolt, if I Electro Web, I activate the weakness policy and it knocks out my Azumarill. And then I've got Raichu and Colossal that just doesn't beat a Dynamax Moltres. So I have to go for a Helping Hand here and hope my Azumarill survives an attack. Which we do on 1 HP. Not for the first time this tournament. Azumarill survives on 1 HP. Wow. Do we hit the play rough, though? That's the next question. Yeah, we do. There you go. Now that looked professional EVs. Yes, they are. Thank you very much. That looked like I was in such a good position at the end of that game because I got Raichu, I've got a Azumarill, I've got a Colossal against a Moltres. Just one Moltres by itself. But if I didn't survive that Airstream, I lost that game. Because again, if I Thunderbolt it, if I Electro a bit, it's still got 3 turns of Dynamax. It's still got his weakness policy. I don't win that, do I? I don't think, anyway. And now, thankfully, I did survive. Thankfully, I hit the play rough with the Helping Hand. Helping Hand to avoid the weakness policy activation. Now it's in Aquajet range. Yeah, wow, what a game. What a game. What a game. And because we've got the Sash on Raichu, we've definitely got a Thunderbolt as well there too. That was ridiculous. I do want to just sort of theory, if I didn't make that move, if I went for a Thunderbolt, okay, let's say I do. I go for a Thunderbolt. He's down to about 80%. Yeah, I go for a Thunderbolt. He's down to about 80%, and then I activate a weakness policy. Airstream knocks out my Azumarill. Next turn, I've got my Colossal, I've got my Raichu. I Thunderbolt again, it's down to about 60%. And I Meteor Beam? I would imagine a +2 Darkness knocks out my Colossal there, doesn't it? Surely. So, okay, next turn, I Thunderbolt again. It's down to about 40%. And then him knowing I'm Sash should Airstream so that he's faster than my Raichu for the last turn. So that now he's out of Dynamax. He's still got his weakness policy. The Fiery Wrath outspeeds, knocks out my Raichu. Yeah, he would have won if I didn't do that. I had to do that to win. I had to do that to win. I had to go for... I mean, a Fake Out, I would have got a little bit of guaranteed chip damage on it. Would have done nothing because I needed the Azumarill to survive there. So the Helping Hand play rough. Put it in Aqua Jet range, in range of anything else, really. Wow. 1 HP survival. 1 HP survival. And it gives us a 6-3 finish. So my first proper competitive Pokemon VGC tournament in years, really. And we finished 6-3. I didn't top cut. I finished. I think I finished the highest British player. If there's anyone higher than me from the UK, please tell me. I don't know a lot of names these days. I think I finished the highest British player, which I'm very happy with. Very, very satisfied after not playing for a long time in the serious way to finish like that against some of the best players in Europe as well. I was very happy, very, very happy to finish 6-3. Really, really happy. Whew. If you want a Azumarill EV spread, become a Patreon. Dear. Yeah, all my spreads, all my teams are in my Patreon Discord. There's a bunch of lovely people in there already. We're still, even though I've been sort of, inactive for a while, we've still got a good group of people in there. Is this my definitive return? Well, maybe. To tournaments, aside from the Nugget Bridge tournaments way back in 2013 and a bit of 2014, I have never played in any of the, Victory Road circuit tournaments, never played in any of the Trainer Tower circuits. I've never played in anything like that. I'm just not interested in stuff like that, to be honest. The next Players' Cup, when that comes around, yeah, I'll try and qualify for that again. Yeah, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm always here. I'm always good at Pokemon. So, I just burn in the background sometimes, I'm not the most active on Twitter or whatever, and I don't really enter these online tournaments, but it felt good, 6-3. I know obviously I didn't top cut, I didn't finish 7-2, which would have been nice. I'm satisfied with that because that was my first competitive tournament, for such a long time. Big tournament against the best players in Europe. I'm happy with that. I'm satisfied with that. So, there we go. And what a tournament as well. How many sets in this tournament were wild, crazy games with 1 HP survivals, with double protects, with all the other wild things that happened, What a mad tournament. I'm glad I recorded them. I'm glad, they're going on YouTube. I'm glad you've all seen them on Twitch here. What a run. Thank you for joining me if you're there on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me. Please subscribe. Please join the Patreon. Please follow me on Twitter. I've been losing Twitter followers, because I don't tweet anything about Pokemon anymore. Oh dear. Join me everywhere. Thanks for watching and goodbye for